Welcome to the channel. We're going to tap right in, see what storyline Spirit has for us this afternoon. Storyline for the collective, please, Spirit. Storyline for the collective. Storyline for the collective, please. In the central energy, we have the Hierophant. In the challenge position, Judgment. Judgment. In the subconscious, the Queen of Cups. So the love of Divine Mother, Divine Feminine, her nurturing, her loving cup. In the recent past, Magician in the reverse. A narcissistic manipulator, manipulating people. Intentions and expectations. We've got history, memory, in the near future. Ooh, we've got the Six of Wands reversed. Somebody's been discredited. This narcissist manipulator has been discredited for the history of what they've been doing here to the Queen of Cups, the love of the Divine Feminine. They're under judgment. The lens that's being looked through. King of Wands. King of Wands is here. So he's a leader. He's not alone. He's got a collective, a group that he's the leader of. Focused on task. In the environment. Excuse me. In the environment. In the environment, we have the Six of Pentacles. Solutions, healing, empathy, sharing the wealth, being generous. Charity, hopes and fears, strength, power, courage, and the outcome. Ten of Cups, divine, blissful love, total love and support. Queen of Pentacles is holding those boundaries firm. And somebody is getting divorced out of this Ace of Pentacles abundance. They're suffering a heartbreak, or they're suffering a heartbreak that you're coming into it. And it looks like there's a King of Pentacles here who's having a lot of negative thoughts here over this Queen of Pentacles getting the money. It's like there's a divorce, and this King of Pentacles is upset. He's feeling like a victim. There was a lot of hard work done on a Knight of Wands energy passion project in order to bring conflict here, and now they're in a nightmare because you persevered through these challenges, and they're getting let go. The betrayers, the tricksters, the fraudsters, they're being let go. They're being removed from the community. This is an end to the heavy burden that you've been carrying because of this person. And you're departing out of here. You're in your chariot and you're leaving it behind. There's a lot of opportunities here for the Empress. And there's some folks here who are in regret because they failed in this endeavor, and they're being disconnected because of the conflict that they were bringing to Divine Feminine. This is the completion of this cycle. And there's a King of Swords here who has mental clarity regarding teamwork that had been done on the Sun, or on behalf of, they were trying to take the fruits of the labor of the Sun. So there's truth known here. And we've got the King of Cups. The love is here with the High Priestess. They know exactly what's going on. Very quickly, this Devil, there's something happening real quickly for this Devil. The work that they've been doing here with the Eight of Pentacles, I guess, is getting them laid to rest, because justice is being served on behalf of love, on behalf of truth. Oh, it's real warm. All right. Storyline for the collective, please, Spirit. Collective storyline. What does the collective need to know, please? So the Hierophant is here. Could be the Most High God, for all I know, or somebody who's all about traditional values and that system. Somebody who has honor and respect for the Divine Mother. So we've got the Hierophant here, and we also have suffering and heartbreak, a divorce. So this could be the Most High bringing a divorce here, severing people out of the love cup of Divine Feminine. He's calling judgment here. He's checking out disloyalty. Everyone who's been disloyal, they're confused. It's a man's world, but it'd be nothing without a woman or a girl. We've got the King of Swords here. So judgment is being called. There's a King of Swords here who has mental clarity. Thinking about this Queen of Cups and the Sun, a rebirth, all is well for the Queen of Cups. So Divine Feminine is getting a new start here. We've got a manipulative narcissist in the recent past. Doing magic on everybody. They're wanting to fight. They're trying to defend themselves. They're trying to think fast. The history of what they've been doing is out here with nostalgia. All of the hard work that they've been doing to gain finances. All of the history of what they've been doing to gain finances. They've been abusing the feminine, and they have been discredited here with the Six of Wands reversed. They didn't win. They didn't achieve anything. They've been discredited. Look, we've got this is a wish come true. A wish come true. Whoever this tyrant is, this narcissist magician that's been using magic to hurt and manipulate people to get rid of them so that they can gain finances, well, they've been discredited. There's a Nine of Cups here, so it's a wish come true. You've got a life of luxury coming for you. They were trying to go after the finances of this Queen of Cups. Look, so there's a King of Wands here, overcoming challenges, and he's got a victory. This is his wish come true. He's sitting here, whoever this magician is, they've been discredited. They were trying to go for this wish come true, and they didn't get it. We've got generosity in the environment, so it's like these Nine of Cups is being shared. But we have somebody here, the Lover's reversed. Somebody's detached. Somebody's getting detached. Those who were they were in fear of commitment, they're detached out of this generosity, out of this charity. We've got strength here. Judgment, strong judgment against those who were not taking relationships seriously. They don't get any of this generosity, or they're going to get a generous amount of whatever it is they've been putting into the world, because we're moving into the Ten of Cups. Judgment is out here twice. And Magician. So we've got a Magician in the upright with the Ten of Cups upright. So there's total love and support. You've got a lot of beautiful skill. You've got skillful will. It's the strength of this community together. Dreams are coming true. Wishes coming true. You're very strong, you're very generous, and you're not giving to those who were creating disharmony, for those who were not taking relationship or their vows seriously. They made a lot of bad choices, and you're leaving them in a freaking tower. You're out of here, man. You're like, you know what, I'm moving on, and they're in a freaking tower. You're moving forward. It looks like you're moving forward with letting the past go. You're moving forward and you're releasing the past with this nostalgia card. Page of Pentacles. There's some news. There's some information. There's an opportunity for financial gain. You've manifested a new thing here. This is a new beginning for you, a precious new beginning. And justice is being served very swiftly. So swift justice. This isn't going to take any time. This is like a bam. It's going to hit you like an explosion. There's a Knight of Cups here, wanting to make a proposal and take part in this luxurious lifestyle. Reconciliation. They want to be reconciled and work with the Empress. They're afraid here because of the resiliency of the Star. the perseverance of the star. They're in a victim mentality because they've been cut out. So they're still coming forward trying to gain a romantic proposal, and so that they can continue to bring conflict to the high priestess. That is very sacredly connected to the divine source of the all that is. The Emperor is here. He could be a temperance angel, or he is here on behalf of the temperance angel, restoring balance and providing a new beginning based in truth. So he knows the truth about it all. He's starting stuff and he's ending stuff. There's some people who are just going to be barred out. They're going to be stuck at a crossroads. They're going to be whatever. They cannot enter. And that's a strong, strong absolute. You're abundant here. And the Hierophant is looking at everything. So the Hierophant is here divorcing people. People are getting cut out. They're getting divorced. They're getting X'd out. They're getting X'd out. They're getting X'd out of your gifts of the soul. Divorced from them. And your mind. They're getting divorced out of your mind. They're no longer able to connect to your mind. So we've got the organic telepaths that are divinely connected to source, and then you've got the cyberware that has been used on the organics and everybody else. You know, this false telepathy for their folks that aren't human, and so that they can communicate with each other, whatever, and then cause people to go insane with their freaking mental magic and their fake telepathy, schizophrenia and shit. So they're getting X'd out of the mind by the Hierophant. These false telepathic people, they're being deactivated or kicked out of the mind, but the organic seems to be coming online. There's judgment here. The King of Swords knows the truth about stuff. He's very disciplined. He's a leader. He's got authority. Trust. You can trust him. He's connected to the divine, the inner voice. He's connected directly to the Hierophant, and he knows the truth of things. He's calling judgment. So this is all, it's not just because, you know, he's having some sort of feelings about anything. He's literally hooked in to the Most High, or this source divine. He knows the truth, and the inner voice that guides him is the Hierophant, and you can trust it. The Queen of Cups is here with the Sun. All is well. Rebirth. They're getting divorced out of the mind. Of the divine feminine and the Sun. There's a rebirth here, man. For the mind of divine feminine. Empathy. So everything that's been done here is known. You know, the Queen of Cups has empathy for people, even though these ones tried to destroy the love in her with their narcissistic, magical mind effery. They're trying to defend themselves. This manipulative narcissist. They're trying to defend themselves. Yeah. They're rushing in, man. They're trying to defend their beliefs regarding this abundance, regarding these limitless beings. You know, they thought that they owned their energy, that they owned their life force essence, and that they could strip it from them anytime they wanted to, take what's left of their remaining portion and sell it to somebody else because they were the one in charge of life, right? So they're trying, this tyrant, this manipulative narcissist is, magician in the reverse, they're trying to defend their beliefs regarding the actions that they have been taking against these limitless beings. There's history here of the routine that they have been doing. They're not a friend. They're not a friend. They've been offering to work with people, offering to invest with people, but it's only for gain. They're not a friend. They were tapping into the abundance of those who actually had it and then brutalizing them with their narcissistic, manipulative magic, their dark magic. They've been discredited here. This is a wish come true. They've been found guilty. The King of Wands is here. And, you know, the King of Wands is a leader of the pack, so there could be others, and they've gained a victory here. I heard last night that they were being decorated. They were being honored. They were receiving honors. This group that's been fighting along with this King of Swords and this King of Wands for this divine Ten of Cups loving union, the traditional values. They're being decorated and honored for the fighting that they have done and for the things that they have achieved. There's a Six of Wands victory here. Public recognition happened last night, or whatever time of day it was when I heard the message, wherever it was happening. For me, it was last night. Purpose. So they know what they're here to do. They're in their purpose. They have gained public recognition for being successful in their purpose. We've got sharing the wealth. It's time for healing, balance, and you're not giving any to those who feared commitment, those who did not honor commitment. And it's not a question if or what. You know who this is, and you're not giving anything to them. There's no indecision. You're not giving them anything. They made a lot of bad choices. There's very strong judgment here right now. They can't blame the feminine anymore. They can't blame those who walk in loving energy anymore. They weren't taking responsibility for their own selves. They were brutalizing others with magic and in other means, and then they were stealing what they had earned. They were brutalizing the whole freaking world. And the terrible thing about it is that they went after the innocent ones, the children. Last night, I got the message. They ate their own. They did not protect innocence. They brutalized innocence. And they RAP'd them, and then they ate them. And therefore, they cannot be covered by the energy of them. If they're sacrificing babies, and they're trying to cover themselves in the innocence and the purity of that energy, it will not be permitted. And I've heard this curator talking about 6 babies, more babies. They keep sacrificing freaking babies, hoping to be covered by their energy, and it's not going to happen. That was last night's message. They cannot be covered by the innocence of the purity of the children that these ones have betrayed and brutalized. Won't be allowed. Foul. So you've got a Ten of Cups union here. You have manifested this, and you have persevered through these challenges. Yeah, these ones, they're sacrificing babies, and they're thinking that they're going to go be covered by the innocence of this and the purity of this energy. They're coming forth saying, I am pure. You know, they put their sins on the child, sacrificed it, and then they presented themselves as though they were clean of sin. And it's seen very clearly what they did to get there. They cannot be covered by this energy that they're stealing from babies. the most foul, disgusting piece of shit. And they're actually out there calling themselves men. Fathers. Men of God. God sees differently. God sees things differently, fellows. They're in doubt because they have failed. They were moving against people who were thankful for life, people who were disciplined in their life, people who had gifts of the souls that benefited themselves and others. They have to accept the things that they cannot change. You're a happy person. And even when you appear to be alone, you're not alone. You're connected to divine. You're a peaceful being. You're a being of love. You release all the negative energy. You are an automatic transmuter of energy. You're the alchemist. Very courageous alchemist. Peaceful. In service to others. And it brings you pleasure to help others. These ones are in regret. They can't change a damn thing here. You're patient. You knew that everything's going to happen in divine order. You're successful. You're a being of love. There's no greater goal. There's forgiveness for everything. Maybe you did some stuff to your health, or maybe your health was affected negatively by whatever crap they were running through your mind and your life. You have grown in consciousness and awareness. You're a very honest person. You're not hiding anything. You're not out here trying to pretend that you're innocent and pure. You're presenting yourself 100% as you are, authentic and transparent. And then, you're like, I don't know what this is. There's judgment happening right here, right now, and you've got your freedom. See, and these ones are in fear because they have to surrender their need to control you and your energy. You're a being of love, and there is a change here for those who are envious of you. You're laughing at the adversity. You chose to look at the lighter side of life, even though they were pouring the adversity onto you. You denied it. You're like, you know what? I'm just gonna pay attention here and see what they're doing, gaining insight and awareness. Breathing into the fear. You denied to go down their path. You remained balanced here. And now they're in grief because the relationships that are coming up are serving the higher good. This is over. This is death. There could be death coming to them. And the prideful ones are very worried about that. Babies. Sacrificing babies, trying to cover themselves in the energy of the pure and innocent ones that they have brutalized and caused all their sin to go on so that they could sacrifice them into some dark place of suffering. And they want to come forward to the Hierophant and say, I am pure, I am sanctified. What, under the blood of innocence and purity that you RAP'd and freaking red rummed? They think they can get into heaven sacrificing baby after baby after baby. Oh, we're going to get in. We're going to be covered by the energy of purity. They're getting cut out of the mental body, and it could be that whatever cyberware that they're functioning off of will be malfunctioning. They're very greedy, and they've been raping the minds of the people for all of their happiness. They got somebody coming in that's going to make their life happy. They interrupt that, and they make sure it never happens. They're going to have a good invention and do all of that. They're going to steal the idea, and because they got the money that they stole from everybody else, they're going to put it into motion and get a patent on it before you can even mention it. They were greedy, and they really overdid it with the minds of the people. They drove everybody into suffering and misery, into warring and crime, into addictions and very low vibrational opinions of self. They're under judgment. The King of Swords knows the truth about it. You can trust what he's got saying. He's guided by the Most High. and he's got a career. So he's in his job. He's doing it. He's doing his work, or he's focused on who did stuff as a career. This greedy mind raping of the people. Queen of Cups is here with the Sun. All is well. There's empathy here. You can see both sides of a situation, and we've got curiosity. So you're empathic. You're empathic. You're an empath. You can see very clearly here. This narcissist manipulator, magician reversed, is trying to think fast and defend themselves about how they treated abundant, limitless beings. There's a lot of yelling going on. There's a history of the routine that they did, and they weren't friendly about it. They weren't anybody's friend. They were very mean, very brutal, and now you're saying goodbye. It could be that they have no more friends. It could be that these friends are turning on this person and they don't want to have anything to do with them. They're like, get out of my energy, get out of my space, get out of my mind, get out of my life. They've been discredited with the Six of Wands in the reverse. It's a wish come true. They've been found guilty. And their health is failing. Whatever energy, these babies, there was at least 6 of them, and then there was another round of babies that this curator was talking about. So there's more than 6 masculines trying to present themselves as pure beings and get into the kingdom or get into the territory. Now their health is failing. They're sick. They've been found guilty. Foul. We can't have men like that in a territory that's run by love and faithfulness. We've got these men who unalived babies and tried to cover themselves in their purity and presented themselves as though they were. They can't be covered by that energy. They're so completely foul. King of Wands is here, overcoming challenges, has public recognition. Everybody can see what he's got going on. He's here in his purpose, and he's here with a group. They've been honored. They've received honors recently. They're very friendly. They're very kind. There's a generosity here. And we've got some folks here that made bad choices. Lovers reversed. And you know exactly who they are. So you're giving generously. Yeah, so we got those who were not faithful to commitment. They were certain of it. And you are too. They're trying to check in here. See, you've got charity here. They all want to take part in your charity. They're talking about it out there in the ethers. Charity. They want part of it. But they're sacrificing babies, trying to cover themselves in the energy of it, and then presenting themselves to you as though they are worthy of your freaking generosity. You know the truth of it. They're not faithful to union, and they certainly aren't faithful to the babies. You know who they are. They're trying to check in. You've got very strong judgment here. They're not able to blame anybody else. They have not been accepting the blame for their own things. They've been being so freaking vile. And then they pour on even more disgusting, villainous, murderous activity by taking the life of a baby and dressing up in its energy and presenting itself as though they're worthy of your freaking generosity and this beautiful abundance. They've been out here trying to trick people. They've been refusing to take blame for their, or be responsible for their own freaking disgusting behavior. They've been tricking everybody, and now they're under strong judgment. You've got a 10 of Cups union coming here. With the manifestor here, the magician, you have manifested it. And we've got perseverance. You have persevered through the nastiness of these murderous, raping, effing bullshit artists calling themselves men, fathers, brothers, cousins, uncles, grandpas. I heard one say he hated his children. It's probably his own child that he unalive, trying to present himself as though he was a worthy freaking life form. You're not working with this person, there's no collaboration. This is a gaslighter. They deliberately manipulate the perception of reality by stealing the life force essence out of goodness, out of purity, out of innocence. And they dress up in it and then prance around like they're a freaking godly person. So now they're desperate and you're laughing at them. You're like, you're a fool. A disgusting fool. And now they want to apologize. And it's like, get out. Get the F out. Freaking disgusting. How dare they present themselves as men doing shit like this? I don't think they should be allowed to stay in that man suit or use that man voice or enjoy that phallus that they've been RAPing everybody with. The most disgusting creature in this realm is the one called a narcissistic masculine. Foe. An enemy to everything pure, innocent, and loving. I'm so sick that they just did this to more than 6 babies and then presented themselves, because the message, the last message that I got was that they had brutalized innocents. They ate their own. And then they presented themselves as though they were pure. They ate them. Ingested their purity and then came up like they were that. They need to go see the doctor. They're sick now. The Hierophant's a little upset about this. They're under judgment. The King of Swords knows the truth of this, their career. He's connected to the Most High. He can see everything that's going on. You can trust his judgments here. There's conversation going on. He might be doing some research. Queen of Cups is here with the Sun. There's a celebration. Very empathic. And she's not offering any services. You've got folks here who they're greedy. They're getting divorced out of the mental field. They're sick, and now they're curious. They want to approach this Queen of Cups, who's a very empathic person, who's here in the energy of the Sun, and they want to take part in some kind of services, and they're just not going to be offered. The mother is not offering any services to these worthless cheaters, skeeters, scammer, freaking brutalizing waste of freaking space, calling themselves a man or a god or whatever it is they've been fancying themselves. Manipulator, narcissist, driving forward, trying to defend their beliefs about how they were treating abundant, limitless beings. There's yelling going on. They're super mad. They want to fight. There's no message. They didn't get a message. They're yelling. They didn't get an invitation. They refused an invitation. The messenger passed over their house. It's like, no, you don't get the invitation. They're really upset because the history is here over their routine. Their routine of presenting themselves as a friend. I'm going to work with you. And it's like, no, now it's time to part ways. All the friends, nobody wants anything to do with them. They're disgusting. They're in their thoughts. They're all up in their thoughts about it. They're super mad. They've been discredited. 6 of Wands in the reverse. It's a wish come true. They've been found guilty and their health is failing here. They're an enemy. Whoever these masculines are that's doing this to the babies and then trying to cover themselves in the innocence and the purity of their life force energy that they just snuffed out in suffering. They want to present themselves to the Hierophant as though they're worthy of this, when they've just unalived an innocent little child and dressed up in the energy to present themselves as though they're worthy of that. They're so sickening, and they're in a freaking misfortune. King of Wands, overcoming challenges with his group here. He's got a public recognition, 6 of Wands, victory. He's here in purpose, and he's very friendly. Somebody is sighing. Oh, he's got victory. And he's sharing the wealth with people. There's a charity here. But you've got these lovers, those who were disloyal, those who tried to destroy unions, those who did their best to destroy families, those who ate their actual babies and their wives or whatever they wanted to eat. These foul creatures, they're trying to check in and get some of your charity, get some of your blessings that you're passing out. But first they got to go snuff out a baby, dress and then eat it for its purity, and then try to present themselves as though they're worthy. Freaking detached. They're in despair because this reunion has happened, and you can see very clearly you're empathic. The King of Swords is connected to the inner voice, to the Hierophant, the Most High. The Queen of Cups is here with the Sun. She carries the essence of the Sun within her. Yeah, so they're in despair over this reunion. They're trying to check in to get some of this charity, and it's like, are you kidding me? What you're going to get is prison. How dare you? The audacity. Very strong judgment is here. They cannot blame anybody. They've been tricking everybody. They have ill intentions for everything and everyone, and they have not been accepting responsibility for their own freaking disgusting behaviors. They've been prancing around as though they're God. Look, young woman. They can't blame this young woman, or there's a young woman here who's working with these foes, doing it. She's doing it with them. I wouldn't doubt it if the curator told her to go ahead and unalive the children and then prepare them for the freaking feast, so that they could all present themselves as worthy of this freaking generosity that the Hierophant's passing out. Oh, they disgust me. You've got a 10 of Cups love here. Total love and support. You have manifested it because you persevered through these challenges that these ones are working with. You were not collaborating with them. You're not giving them anything. They're not worthy of it. They've been effing around in the mind of a sweetheart. Queen of freaking Cups. They've been effing around with her mind. They're trying to desperately to get into the mind of this sweetheart, and she's not collaborating with them. They're trying to get into her head. She's the wife. Look, they want to make this thief. They want to get into her mind. They want to get into her space. They want to unalive this wife. They want to cause somebody to be a widower, and then they want to sell her spirit or soul or whatever to this merchant thief. These are the human traffickers. They don't care. They unalive babies. They unalive wives of other people. They sell them off as sex slaves, as slaves in other dimensional realities to other beings who use humans as slaves. This is their business. We got the house here. Somebody may be making a journey. Their house may be making a journey. The house could be the house of flesh. They may be transitioning into the spiritual realm. Pleasure seekers who've been toying with the mind of this sweetheart are facing death. they're very prideful, and they got a real bad attitude because the wedding has taken place, and they've got the fortune here. They've got all the money. They're sick over your love. The love that you had hoped for is here. And a child will be here too. Look, innocence and purity. You're friends, and you're both here. Love that you hoped for, the lover that you hoped for, the child is coming, you're a friend. You got somebody here that's sad. They're in melancholy over your faithfulness. You seem to be faithful. Months ago, somebody said royal and loyal. These ones did their best to destroy the reputation of somebody, and they were so freaking bad in the mental body and in the energy of this person. I hope that there is severe consequences for these jackwagons who did that to those babies and then presented themselves as they were worthy of your charity. I hope there's severe freaking consequences, and I see that it's here. This enemy, man, maybe they're on fire. Maybe they're getting hellfire. I don't know, but they certainly deserve it for what they've been doing to those innocent and pure ones. They ate them, and I don't even know if they were alive when they did it, because I know from previous that there's a history of them doing that, because they were used to taunt me how they were going to take little tiny bites out of me until there was nothing left. So they do this kind of a thing, and they might have done that with these babies. I don't know. But they ate them, and then they came forward and tried to present themselves as though they were that innocent, pure energy. And they freaking entered the room as though they were a worthy man. God, I cannot believe how foul these ones have let themselves be, and the whole world is full of them. The Hierophant is here divorcing people out of the mental field, out of the imagination. The greedy ones are getting divorced out of the mental body. They're sick. They're sick. And they've been putting sickness, rage, anger, addictions, infidelity, all this negative, bad stuff. They've been putting it in the minds of the people. These greedy people have been putting sickness into the minds of the collective, and so now the Hierophant is here divorcing them out. They got to get out with their false telepathic bullshit, their cyberware. They're sick. They're sick in the head. They're so low vibrational, they don't have any business with the function of telepathy. They don't have the freaking heart or the love or anything to have access to this field, and yet they did it with cyberware. So we've got great news here. They're sick. They're sick. They're being disconnected from the mind. God's performing a miracle. Judgment is being called. The King of Swords is here, connected divinely. He's in his career here. There's a lot of conversation happening. He could be doing research. People might be confessing as to what they know regarding mind reading strategies. Who they know who has been doing it, what the technology is, how it's been going on. There's a lot of conversation going on. There's some research happening here. King of Swords is getting to the bottom of the truth. The Queen of Cups is here with the Sun. All is well. There's a rebirth. All is well. There's this very empathic person. They can see, and that's what, people love empaths. They love psychics. They love all that because they're easy, man, to just download freaking soap operas into the mind, and then they got all this stream of thought in there, and they're like, why am I so miserable? And it's like, because there's people messing with your mind. They're putting chaos in the mind all the freaking time with this cyberware. Somebody's curious about your empathy, and they're curious about what you know, and you're not offering them any services. They want this charity. I've heard them talking about it. And then the curator was like, well, the babies, got to get 6 babies. And then later he was talking about even more babies. And then last night I got that they ate their own, and that they cannot be covered in that energy. They presenting themselves for charity after they've just taken the lives of a child, a baby that was closest to God spiritually. They ate them and then tried to present themselves as though they were closest to God. And now they're sick. They're disappointed. They're sick. You're not offering them any services. You don't give a crap. These manipulative, narcissistic, red-rumming thieves are trying to defend themselves and the way that they handled abundant, limitless beings. There's yelling. They're fighting. They did not get the letter. They did not get an invitation. They got bad news. They can't be covered by this child that they just brutalized and ate and tried to present themselves as though they were as pure as this baby that they just freaking tortured. There's readiness here. Readiness here. Arrangements are being made. The history of the routine practice is known. They're all up in their thoughts. Their friends are turning their back on them. They're saying goodbyes. Vow. They're all up in their thoughts about some vow. Spirituality. They're all up in their thoughts about spirituality. They thought for sure that by transferring their sin onto a little baby and then they've been discredited. They're not winning jack. They're in the 6 of Wands reversed. This is an excellent wish come true. They've been found guilty. Their health is failing. This is an enemy and they're suffering a misfortune. They're getting confined. King of Wands just has a victory here, as well as the whole team. They're here in their purpose. They're very friendly. They're approaching with kindness. They're not a jackwagon, manipulative magician in the reverse. Family. There could be a family that's sighing, or somebody is sighing over this new family. Somebody's sick about it. Somebody's sick about this family. You know why? Because you're giving out charity, but they're dressing up in the purity of stolen life, this brutalization that they have been doing to babies. At least 6 of them. And I heard them talking about doing more after that. Presenting that, and I've heard them talking about charity. They're doing this. Oh, God. They're in despair over this reunion. They're going to damn prison. They're trying to check in. They never had any faithful, loyal love unions. They brutalized and ate their children. There's no indecision here. You know exactly what to do. They're not getting shit. They're going to prison. They have lost. They're trying to check in and take advantage of this freaking charity, and they're going to freaking prison because they're disgusting. How dare they even be known as a man or a woman? They need to be evicted out of that freaking flesh suit. They're sick. They're sick. And then they blast that sickness, those foul thoughts out into the collective with their cyberware, and then they accuse people that have this shit running through their brain all the time that doesn't even belong in their life. They accuse them of being that, and then they convict them. These people had the system freaking so out of whack, but the Most High is here now, and he sees very clearly what they're doing. There's very strong judgment happening here. For those who are tricking others, not accepting blame for their own stuff, this young woman was trying to steal. And they were using the freaking life and essence of purity, of babies to do it. You've got a 10 of Cups union here. Total love and support. You have manifested it because you persevered through all this crap. You got down to the truth, and you're not offering them any services anymore. Absolutely not. They will never, ever enjoy a life like they have stolen from people over the last many centuries. They will never, ever, ever get it back. Never. I would be happy if they lost their permission to be known as a human being. They don't have any right in that position. None. But that's just me, and I'm not in charge of judgment or justice or karmic debt or return or any of that. And they're lucky because they're lucky. They better hope that God has some kind of beautiful redemption plan for them. But I don't know. They may have pushed it too far. You're not collaborating with these people. They were mind effing a sweetheart. They were messing with the sweetheart's mind, this Queen of Cups. They were in there driving shit through her mind that had no business being there. She would never, ever, ever think like this. But they drive it through with their cyberware because it's a transmitter receiver. It's software. And they just drive it through. And then, they agitate the nervous system, the energy with their little direct energy weapons. And then you get emotional. And then you start wrapping up these thoughts. And unfortunately, it gets claimed by a lot of people. They don't recognize it. It's not even their bullshit. So these ones may have been using prayer work to F with the mind of a sweetheart. There's no longer any collaboration. There's no longer any services. There will be no nurturing or charity given to these ones by the Divine Feminine ever again. They will never receive the care of a human mother again. Sweetheart. She's a sweetheart. And they were preying on her downfall. They were messing with her mind. Look, wearing masks to F up her world. And now they're frightened because they did the unthinkable. According to my protector, they did the unthinkable. And they know what they've done. In the history, they were collaborating to steal destinies of beautiful people, bringing natural disaster to people who were bringing blessings. They overloaded people with magic, and now that's coming back on them. And your alliances, you're a trustworthy, honest person. They see you as such. They are such. And you are at the top of that mountain. You've reached your goal. You are the gift. You're getting a gift. You're relaxed. You have your inner peace going on here. Those prideful people wanted your money. They wanted what was coming to you from this marriage. And now they're sick because it's time for stuff to happen here. You persevered. You've got sweet dreams. You're getting some really good dreams. You've got some eternal love coming your way. Those who were indulging on your suffering, on your pain, thinking themselves gods and goddesses while they fucked up everybody's minds with this cyberware and their magic bullshit. They don't know what to do because now it's their turn to be dominated. Why? Because you have won the war of the mind. You're at peace. You've learned a lot of new skills. And you're entering into your fate, and you will be receiving your reward. There's evidence and proof of what they have done, and therefore you're getting mercy. While these ones, who thought it was a great idea to try to separate you and bind you to commitments that they were making, are getting cast away. They're getting cast away. They're getting cast out of your care. They're getting cast out of your love. They're getting cast out of the garden. They can no longer benefit from your charity, from your generosity, from your love. You do not have to take care of these people who want to RAP you and then eat the babies. This bully needs to go live and learn, and they need to do that by facing all of the conflict. They're going to go fight. They're probably going to go to that universe that the curator was talking about, this universe. Apparently they're going to torture these folks in another universe, and they're going to have to fight. And now they want to compromise, and it's like, hello, no. You go deal with your freaking nightmare. You go deal with your freaking nightmare. This is your work. This is your specialty. Now go prove that you are the master of it. They're furious here because this is the conclusion. You have gained your promise. You have gained your promise, and now they're going blind and they're getting dead. They're being rejected. They are being stopped. Their minds are filled with every curse that they put out. All that mental magic, all that bullpucky that they were forcing into the minds of the organic transmitter receiver of God. It's back on them now. And that's justice for those who took bribes to F with people's minds. Jerks. They were doing it to high value people for profit. A whole network of people. And now they're protesting because you've been found to be a good, honest, moral, upright person. You've earned a lot of merit because you didn't go manic or militant or, vengeance. You didn't go into war mode. You just stayed sweet, and you prayed and you meditated and you did whatever it was that you had to do to keep yourself in inner harmony. And these people are now going to go receive all of the accidents, all of the death magic, all of the mental health, go insane magic. All of that stuff is back on them. And this torture in this other universe, that's their own crap. They're taking it with them. They're going to go into their own freaking universe, and they're going to take all this crap that they've been putting on other people, and it's going to be stuck to them. And they get to go live with it. While you get to go teach your new family tree how to deal with these kinds of circumstances, how to strengthen their own inner harmony, how to be all that they can be so that they don't have to try to butcher innocence and purity and eat it and then pretend that they are that. Freaking disgusting. Now they're trying to apologize. I don't care anything about them. Not one little lick do I give a care for them. And I don't care how anybody thinks about that. These people are sick. They're freaking sick. You know what makes me so sick is that these are grown-ass men with their young little slave women or whatever, the ones that do their bidding and wear masks and pretend that they are the actual divine feminine. They do all this shit behind doors with the babies. And then they have the balls to present themselves as though they are worthy of charity, as though they are worthy of a contract with the divine feminine, as though they are worthy of being present in the kingdom of God. When they've just eaten a little tiny baby that just freshly came here from the kingdom of God. The hypocrisy is so freaking loud. The disgusting venom is so bad. I don't think they should be permitted to exist. But apparently God thinks they should go suffer the torment that they've been putting on people. Apparently there's a whole universe out there created just for that. Community. So this thief, they're getting divorced. The greedy people who've been mind-effing everybody, they're sick in the head. They are sick in the freaking head. And there's a miracle here. They're getting divorced out of the community. There's judgment here by a King of Swords. He is here in his career. This is his career. He's a researcher. You can trust him. He's connected to the divine. He's doing some research with this conversation card regarding the strategy and the mind reading and all of this other stuff that people were doing. You know, and he's doing his research as any good leader does. They get down to the root of it, and they don't just listen to hearsay and blasphemy and all that crap. They go around and they gather a consensus. And not only do they do that, they repeat the process and make sure that they get the same freaking answer a few different times before they call judgment. That's what a good leader does. They're not just out there casting judgment on people because it's cool and powerful. We got abundance here. Yeah, so he's looking out. He's doing some research on who was mind reading and mind effing people, trying to get their abundance. So the Queen of Cups is here with the Sun. All is well. Very empathic. Can see, hear, feel. Somebody's curious about this empathy of this beautiful mother figure. And she's not offering them any services. She's like, get out. There's no services here for you. Get out. They're disappointed. And they're sick because they got detached from her loving, nurturing cup. Communication. They may be trying to communicate telepathically, but they're getting kicked out. The greedy ones are getting divorced out of the imagination. So their telepathy isn't working like it was. They're losing their capacity to speak to people telepathically, to interfere with people telepathically. They didn't earn that right. They don't have the empathy or the care or the freaking self-regulation techniques to have access to this space. They're brutalizers, thieves, cheapskates. They cause misfortune in everybody's life just so that they can run around and act like they're God. That's what they do. I'm so sick of it. And I'm sick of it because of those babies that they ate and then tried to present themselves as worthy of this charity. It's the most disgusting, foul thing I can ever think of. And they're walking around out there as men, offering love cups to people. This realm is sick. So this manipulative, narcissistic magician, they're in the reverse. They're trying to defend themselves about how they've been handling abundant, limitless people. They're very brutal. They're yelling, they're fighting, they're mad because they didn't get the message, or they got bad news, or they didn't get an invitation. They didn't get an invitation. Look, you're getting ready to move into a sacred space, and this fella did not get the message. He didn't get an invitation. He doesn't get to go. He's yelling at folks. He's really upset. He was brutalizing abundant, limitless people, thinking that he was going to get that sacred space. They were going to get, what do they call it? Utopia. They used to laugh at me how they were going to get utopia while I was suffering with these thousands of people mind raping me, calling me every foul name in the book, manipulating my nervous system and my energy, making me sick. All hundreds of these people having a freaking party in my mind. They thought that they were going to get utopia by driving me insane. Just like they have many other people. They steal them by tearing apart their brain. There's a routine. There's a history here of this routine. They've been doing it on the regular. And now their friends are turning their back on them. They don't want to have anything to do with them. They're saying goodbye. And this person's all up in their thoughts about this vow. They made a vow to do it. they're getting wrath. It could be that the spiritual team that you, abundant limitless being, are connected with, are delivering these ones wrath now. There's a vow to deliver wrath to these people. Their friends are bailing on them, man. Their friends are like, hey, goodbye, I'm out of here. Don't talk to me. Don't come to me. Don't speak to me. I don't want to have anything to do with you. These people are completely discredited. It's seen exactly what they've been doing to the innocence and the purity, and then masquerading as though they're this beautiful being when they are the most foul thing that ever happened to a baby. These full-grown men are the most foul, brutal thing that could have ever happened in a baby's life. And their mother, too. They've been exposed. So they've been discredited. They've been found guilty. Their health is failing. This is an enemy. They're in a misfortune. They have been exposed, and now they're losing their freedom. They've been exposed. They got caught. They got busted. They did what they did, and they got caught, and now they're in big effing trouble, because those were God's babies. Those were the babies of the upper dimensional gods, goddesses, angels, whatever you want to call them. The upper dimensional beings who were seeding their children into the golden eggs that were then to be birthed into this realm so that they could learn and grow and expand. They were feasted on. They were eaten by the family that they were birthed into. They were feasted on and eaten by people who bred them on farms, specifically for food or torture practice or whatever the hell they were into. King of Wands is here. He knows the truth, and so does his whole team. They've been victorious. They've been decorated. They've been honored for their services. They're here in their purpose. They're friendly. They approach everybody with kindness. They're family. They're family. Somebody's sighing about it. They're very upset about it. They're in grief. Somebody is in grief because it's over for them. This King of Wands and his team are here on behalf of family. This is their purpose. They've got a goal, and that is to generate a safe space and a beautiful, protected, foundational space that they can have their Ten of Cups divine love union on. Total love and support. The children will be safe. They will be protected by the fathers rather than brutalized, raped, and then eaten by them. Fucking animals. So you got these lovers who didn't, they didn't do crap except bring brutalization and try to destroy. They're little hoe bags. They didn't care about union. They don't want anything. They want to check in and take part of your generosity. They want part of your freaking charity here. I heard them talking about it. And then they were talking about those babies. And apparently they did it. And they got busted last night. And they were told that they cannot be covered by the innocence of this purity. They have lost. They're disappointed. They're disappointed and in despair over this reunion because they're going to prison. Everything that they have been doing is seen. They're disgusting. They've been cheating their way, lying about it, wearing masks as beautiful, loving, nurturing, divine feminines. They've been wearing these masks and then being little whores, energy harvesting, and then putting that energy back on the divine feminine, and then dressing up her energy field as though she was out there participating in this crap, and it was never that way. These people are sick. They chose to do this. They thought it was the way to do it. It was the best way to go ahead and eat babies that are fresh out of the kingdom. And then to try to present themselves as though they were worthy for God's charity. Waterproof, waterproof, waterproof. It's rolling right off of them. It's rolling right off of you. You're not having anything to do with these people. Nope. They're going to prison. They're going all freaking way. They're in despair. You don't give a crap about anything that they say. All this magic that they're trying to do to you, it's rolling right off of you. You just don't care. There's very strong judgment here. For those who were tricking others, refusing to accept the responsibility for their own stuff, they were laying blame on the sweetheart Queen of Cups energy, trying to trick people so that they could rob them of what was actually theirs. Mask wearing. They would go out and be foul while wearing a mask of the actual divine feminine, screwing up the energy, doing their little orgies and whatever hell else they were doing, murdering babies, whatever. And then they were laying that energy onto the actual divine feminine and then presenting themselves as though they were more worthy. And taking the reward that actually was earned by divine feminine. Look, distraction. Distraction. So they would distract divine feminine or distract others, and then they would put out their tricks. You've got a divine love here, total love and support. You have manifested it because you persevered through all this crap and you got to the truth of it. You're not collaborating with any of those people who were messing with the mental body of the sweetheart. We got sweetheart out here twice. These ones were messing with the mental body of these sweethearts, and they were using prayer work to do it. Religion, prayer work. And you're not working with them anymore. They're not getting any of your charity. You see what they've been doing. You persevered through all of their magic here, this magician reversed. And you've got the territory. You've got the territory here. The sweethearts are together. And you've got the territory. They're offering resistance though. But everything they do is seen. Yeah, these creatures of the night eating the babies is seen. Their negative influence and dominator ways as a team, playfully they were unaliving people, torturing people, and then convicting them of being obsessed or possessed. They're being displaced for their trickery. And they're being prepared to be fodder. These ones are the new fodder. They ate so many babies, God's babies, fresh out of heaven, man. They ate them, dressed up in their innocence and their purity, laid all their sin on them, and then stuck them in the underworld for suffering eternity. And they just did it again. Now they will be the fodder. They will be going to a universe of terror, and they will be eaten by what? I heard somebody say, it was the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Apparently there's going to be some new monsters that they get to go play with. While you, who honored your commitments, who were loyal to what it was that you had going on, who grew through these challenges, you're going a new direction. You know, these ones took a risk. They thought they were going to get lucky. And now they're being released. These ones who were curious, who were astral projecting, remote viewing, you know, astral traveling into the homes of other people who were not aware, jacking up their energy, messing with their minds, giving them dream lover experiences and harvesting their orgasmic energy, and then using that energy with their signature to go out and do really vile magic tricks to pollute their reputation and their energetic signatures. Yeah, they're getting released. They're getting released. You have grown in your ability to maintain balance through extreme challenge, and you did not go militant, or you did not become malicious or vengeful. So you have your freedom. You get to keep your gifts, and you have your freedom. You might even be getting new gifts. And I gotta leave this reading because these entities, I can't even call them men or women. I just can't. I mean, they look like us, but they're demons, man. They're devils. They're so freaking... And there's so many of them. Wanting to slip their wand into you or open their little black hole for you. I hope this clarifies something that you already intuitively knew, and I'll see you on the next one, everybody. Bye.